Since most people actually have no idea how long a normal person can hold their breath underwater, I took 6 of my friends to the pool to see how long they could go before they had to come up for air. You probably think you can hold your breath for about 30 seconds to a minute, like most people. Or if you're very fit, maybe you think you can do 130. Unless you're a freediver, practice the Wim Hof method, or for some other reason have been trained to hold your breath longer, of course. But that's just because you don't know how to actually do it. So first I let my friends hold their breath their way, then we trained for 20 minutes, then we did it my way. The first one to get out was Lenka at 32 seconds. And right after her, Maria, who is a world champion Latin dancer, came out at 35 seconds. The third person to give in at 47 seconds was Dennis, who is a Norwegian TV host. And by the way, if you think life is great and you like staying alive, you should never do the Wim Hof method underwater, and you should never hold your breath underwater alone. Next out of the water was Leo Malloy at 1:03, only a few seconds before Siriana at 1 minute and 7 seconds. Out of 6 reasonably fit people who are not trained in holding their breath, 5 of them did around 1 minute or less. And now we're only left with David, and if you pay attention to his diaphragm and stomach, you can see he's now getting some contractions. This is uncomfortable, but it's not dangerous, and it happens to most people when holding their breath for an extended time. So David was the one who lasted the longest with 1 minute and 38 seconds when they did it their way. They will now try again and see how much they improved with just 20 minutes of breath hold training, and at the same time I will explain exactly what exercises we did to achieve this improvement. I will also explain what could have been done for each one of them to get even better results. It's normal for men to be able to hold their breath a bit longer than girls because of, among other things, bigger lung capacity. And for untrained people, it's also very often psychological. But how long one can hold the breath differs from person to person. So it's not set that a man will be able to hold his breath longer than a girl. Because of all the factors that play a role in how long you're able to hold your breath, you should try to not compare yourself to other people, but rather look at how much you are able to improve with the right technique and right training over time. When I bring people with me to the pool to try to hold their breath, I always look at how many percent they improve rather than seeing how much time they're able to hold in the end. So to recap the results from the test when they did it their way, Lenka did 32 seconds, Maria did 35 seconds, Dennis did 47 seconds, Leo Malloy did 1:03, Siriana did 1:07, and David did 1 minute and 38 seconds. With that said, let's see how much they improved with 20 minutes of breath hold training. I told all of them not to eat 8 hours before the test because digesting food uses oxygen and energy, and holding your breath with a stomach full of food that is pressing against your diaphragm and lungs is very uncomfortable. For me, if I hold the breath in the morning before breakfast, I can hold my breath double the length I can do compared to if I'm holding my breath right after dinner. I also asked all of them not to train or go to the gym this day or the day before, since recovering uses a lot of oxygen and it makes you build up CO2 in your body faster. And it is CO2 that triggers the breathing reflex, not the lack of oxygen. First out of the water on the final test after the training was Maria with 1 minute and 54 seconds. Right after Maria was Lenka at 2:04 and Dennis at 2:08, meaning Maria improved with 226% from 35 seconds, Lenka improved with 257% from 32 seconds, and Dennis improved with 173% from 47 seconds. So this is exactly what we do when I bring people with me to the pool to try breath hold training. 1. Don't eat right before. 2. Don't go to the gym or train the same day or the day before. 2 days of rest is even better. 3. We perform the training in a pool that is at a temperature where they will not get cold and freeze. If you're cold and you start to shiver, you can't relax and you use a lot of energy. 4. Sit and rest with the back against the pool wall and your feet on the bottom of the pool. 5. Breathe in for 4 seconds through the nose if possible and out through the mouth for 8 seconds. You want to use a little bit more force when you breathe out like this. That will also help lower your heart rate. If you feel that you're getting lightheaded, you should slow down your breathing, because if you hyperventilate, you air out way too much CO2, which means you can black out from the lack of oxygen before you feel the need to breathe. 6. Keep breathing like this for 2 minutes. If you pay attention to Siriana's stomach, you can see some light movement. That is her having some contractions. Leo went from 1 minute and 3 seconds to 3 minutes and 29 seconds, and Siriana went from 1 minute and 7 seconds to a very impressive 3 minutes and 42 seconds, which is exactly 232% improvement for both of them. If Siriana had not gone up on her own at that point, I would have signaled her to get out. Because if you look at her lips at the end of the last breath hold compared to at the end of the first breath hold, you can see they are much more bluish color than red, which means she was very close to her limit and getting low on oxygen. Back to the training method. 7. Take 3 deep breaths, then fill your lungs completely full while slowly turning around, and then float facing down in the water while holding your breath. 8. When they start feeling uncomfortable, they get up and then do another 2 minutes of breathing, same way as first time. 9. We repeat this 4 times with 2 minutes of breathing in between every breath hold. If you look at David now, you can see he's having some pretty strong contractions and his lips are starting to get a bluish color. David was able to do an impressive 4 minutes and 42 seconds after training and had an improvement of 188% from his already impressive first round of 138. Before the last and fifth round, which you saw in the video here, they do 3 minutes of breathing, then fill their lungs 90% full so they can relax and then hold as long as they can. And using this method with just 20 minutes of breath hold training, 6 normal people who never trained to hold their breath before were able to have these results. Maria 154. Lenka 204, Dennis 208, Leo 329, Siriana 342, and David 442. Earlier I said, when you want to hold your breath for a long time as comfortable as possible, it's best to float face down in the water. So if you're wondering why some of them were laying on the bottom and others were floating, it's actually just because when they lay on the bottom, the videos tend to get more views. I hope you liked this video and let me know in the comments what kind of videos you want me to create next.